Welcome to another edition of Your Impact Attack. That's right, it's Your Impact Attack. And if you haven't had enough wrestling this weekend, happy Memorial Day. We're here to talk about some more wrestling, whether you saw it or not. Who is we? We are the VBC. I'm the V in the VBC, the vet JB Williams. Hello. With me as always, tag team partner Brandon, tagging through the screen, coming in cleaning house. Brandon, what's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. Yeah. Packed weekend of wrestling. Completely packed weekend and it's still spilling over because there's a 3-day, in some cases, 4-day weekend, depending on where you might work, what it is you might do, whatever your situation is. But at least everybody got a 3-day weekend and they made sure to pack it with all the wrestling they could. How you doing, man? How's everybody else doing tonight? Whoop, whoop.
Well, I'm doing great, and I'm sure that they are too. Who do we have with us in the sea of the VBC, the chat? Always, we got a 4 horse people to start things off, at least, and maybe even more.
Let's see who we got. We got Lab Rat. We got Javi Uchi. Ha! Lisbeth. We got Gam. See who else we got. We got Todd in the house. Hey, yo.
Mr. No Monikers needed. Yep,
Yes,
that's
sir.
it.
Whoop,
That'll
whoop.
do it. And I'm sure some more people will show up. Um, but yes, we have definitely had our fill of wrestling this week, and we even have, I guess, some news that we could talk about. Nothing amazing. Everybody's kind of already talked about the big news, which was WWE pulling WrestleMania from New Orleans. Basically, everybody says that it's going to Las Vegas again. I don't really know what else there is to comment on it. I don't know how much you've talked about it. Um, but did you have any sort of anything to add to that whole conversation?
I think the story I had heard was that they were expecting the building to be ready to go for WrestleMania, and it turns out it's not going to. So they kind of had to figure out a quick fix. Of course, granted, they got what about 10 months? It's about maybe 8. Who promoting? Who knows? But they still had a window to try to find a new venue.
Yeah. Well, I'm still not sure if it's officially announced to be uh Las Vegas. I don't know if the WWE has announced that yet, but it just seems that everybody keeps reporting that.
Which means
So,
slow news week.
yeah. Probably so. Um I guess all the news really is just what happened this weekend on any of the 5,000 wrestling shows. Um there's obviously a big development in TNA, but maybe we should cover that in chronological order, perhaps. Everybody will probably already know what that is anyway. Um,
Yeah, I think it'd be better to do it like in order. Not let's not Tarantino this.
okay. Well, you guys all know anyway, but at this point, um, but we'll talk about that. We won't talk about it here. We'll just save it for the coverage. And the other TNA related news that I saw, which is kind of a companion piece to um we had the story about the company wanting to discourage the excessive bloodletting in the wake of, the dog collar match that we saw. And apparently there's even an addendum to that because uh, TNA president Carlos Silva, who that won't be the last that we hear of him tonight. Trust me on that. Um, but so he went on the the takedown on Sports Illustrated and clarified that it's not that um, blood is officially banned in the company. It's just that they've been encouraged to use it sparingly, which I don't know why that needed to be clarified because I don't remember them even, you know, I believe that was reported when we talked about it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they never confirmed that that was the new policy or not. They're just commenting on the rumors about the policy. Sounds more like.
right. Which, so the new so the news story is that TNA Wrestling is banning the throat slash gesture. So like, they're the NFL now, I guess. And they also, it says they will require slaps to be approved. Slaps are no longer allowed outside of certain circumstances. This is, of course, brought to you by Fightful Select. Um, so the apparently the TNA Public Relations Department passed down a memo to the talent that slaps are no longer allowed unless approved by an agent, which is weird. Do people just go around slapping each other in matches and everything without talking to anybody? There are a lot of surprise slaps. I don't know. Uh, Nobody ever slapped me without talking to me about it. And so, yeah, so that and the throat slash motion isn't allowed anymore. So any violations of the new rule are $100 fine each time that it happens. And that Fightful's reporting that a meeting was held on Saturday to discuss not only the new moves and bans, but also to express unhappiness that the memos and other details were leaked. So Fightful Select is reporting that they're not happy that Fightful Select is reporting, basically. Is that what we're supposed to understand with this, Brandon?
That about sums it up right there.
So, yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much it. It's kind of nothing, but at the same time, it's like, it's interesting that that's enough to even make a memo, Like, I'm a little confused, but that's what we got. Thank you, Fightful Select.
Best $5 in the business.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Now we do see a lot of slapping, in wrestling, but I'm not sure like what does that extend to. I assume it's all slaps. So like in a match, an open hand palm strike, is that,
Yeah, are chops considered? Can they be considered slaps?
I guess not. I guess not. It's as long as it's not in the face, I guess. But technically it is a slap. Yeah, is it just, and it says approved by an agent, right? So that's, I guess, like, so approved by an agent. I assume that everything would kind of have to be, if you're talking about in a match, like do people do they go over their match with the agent and the agent doesn't approve stuff and they do it anyway? I mean, what is, or do they just not tell the agent things? Like, I'm not really sure. I'm under the impression these days that kind of everything has to be run by the agent and approved and pre-planned. But maybe I'm
Yeah,
not.
I would imagine so, depending on who the talent is.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just some weirdness. I don't really get it. But hey, whatever. So yeah, as far as news goes, that's all I have. Is there anything else that's newsworthy or um, recent developments that should be talked about?
Nah, I think we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay, well, I guess we might as well just get on started with this review because we have, of course, the go home to and the broadcast of Under Siege. So we've got plenty to talk about. And we're going to talk about it right now. The TNA episode of what date was it?
The 22nd.
The 22nd. Impact on the 22nd. We have our ketchup packet.
Well, it's kind of a hot sauce. I blew through all my ketchup packets this
My
weekend.
goodness. Man, hungry guy, huh? What did you enjoy with all this ketchup?
I happened to discover a air fryer.
Ah, I see. So you ate an air fryer and you put ketchup on it. It must have been big to use up all your packets.
It's a pretty decent sized one. And plus, you kind of needed to mask all the taste of, metal and
Plastic.
plastic components.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right. So we're starting off our show with Mustafa Ali versus Ace Austin. They have a match. The usual stuff with you got the cabinet or whatever they're calling themselves, the Order 4. They're all on the outside. They're all doing stuff. At one point, go ahead.
I'm sorry, like the whole Order 4 thing. As soon as I hear that, you remember that one part in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas? They pull up to the drive-through and he and us. Yeah. What was it? Big Smoke. He orders the entire menu.
Yes, 2 number 45s. Yeah. So yeah, they're out there. They're doing things. Tasha runs in, and the ref is like, "What are you doing? Get out of here!" And Ace Austin's like, "Get out of here!" And then while she's getting out of there, Ali hits him with a chop block and grapevines his leg in some weird hold, and Ace Austin has to tap out. It's gonna be relevant because Ace Austin is gonna show up on the gimmick injury report later, and he's not gonna be at Under Siege. So, whatever the reasons are for that, that's how they're kind of writing him out. Is this sort of leg deal that they're doing here? Yes, and as Todd points out, thoughts on where Ace Austin might end up next, because it's also being reported that he's finishing up with the company.
Oh, damn. I mean, yeah, if he's finishing up, this is a good way to write him out. Get Ali over. Where does Chris Bay fall?
Yeah, that's another question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of those things. But yeah, that was that. I don't have much to say about the match itself, but the important thing was this is why you're not going to see Ace Austin maybe for the rest of your life in TNA.
Boo. I thought he was one of the better younger guys.
Yeah. But it definitely felt like there was a time when the company was higher on him. He doesn't feel like that important right now. And even when he and Chris Bay were still just a tag team, they didn't feel like they were interested in doing that much with those guys at the point. So maybe the new management, maybe that has something to do with it. Just speculation, complete speculation on my part. As for where he might end up next, I don't know. I don't have thoughts because I don't think about it. I don't know who might be interested. Anybody could potentially be interested. Um, but where he actually will go, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because he has plenty of options. I could see AEW and WWE wanting him. Probably AEW a little bit more.
Well, let's see. We'll hope he lands at the highest bidder like he should. The system does a group promo in the hallway. Everybody gets a nice turn at the microphone. Not that there is a microphone, but you know what I mean. The proverbial microphone. System promo. And then a Rosemary promo. And at first she's just looks like she's crouched down, but then the camera reveals that she's cutting this promo over an unconscious Lei Ying Lee. Just laying on some cart.
An old warehouse cart.
Yeah, some warehouse cart. Just here, it's good. It is good for transporting bodies. You know, it's very convenient. Um, but yeah, so apparently, yes, she's been taken out. Next is the next is the armory, the Northern Armory, and they are wearing the bloody clothes from the Burt Macklin match when they come out. That's gross, guys. You kind of want to watch those. And they're taking on the Aztec Warriors. Holmes.
Aztec Warriors. Aztec Warriors.
Yep, that's them. Any thoughts on this?
Surprising outcome. I thought it was going to be Aztec Warriors counting the lights.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like the Northern Armory is a threat. They're kind of like maybe the new Great Hands, because the Great Hands have been a little more successful lately. But yeah, they Aztec Warriors win with the worst split moonsault thing that Octagon had. I've never seen. Yeah, I had to rewind it to make sure he actually landed on the guy, you know, because it looked like he just flopped down on the top rope and just fell over. But he did actually. Zaya helps Zaya in the back, I guess. Cuts a promo on Rosemary. Cody Deaner's on commentary for Fat Eddie versus some guy named Jake Painter. And
I wonder what that dude does for a living.
I don't know. Well, I know he may definitely have a change of career because you know he kept almost winning this match because Fat Eddie just couldn't keep his eyes off of Diener over there at the desk. Kept getting distracted, kept almost losing. But he eventually did win, of course. So a good strong win before the match at Under Siege for Cody Deaner's career. So yeah. So that was that. Anything to add?
I mean, it was just your basic build for this match, but they didn't really do anything physical or make me believe that Diener had a shot at winning or make me want to see him win. Like there was no heat.
You know, that's interesting because in the landscape of professional wrestling, there seems to be like all this heat and it doesn't really, I don't know how much it works. I don't like, for the average person, I'm not really sure what they think about, all these the backstage brawls and the post match fights and all these different things. Um, I don't know what the people like. I don't know how effective that stuff is anymore. I don't know whether it's. I know where it should be more effective, where guys don't necessarily get physical before something, but I don't know. I thought the idea of the heat for this was supposed to be that Fat Eddie is torturing some guy that has no chance of winning, like right in front of Cody, and that's supposed to be the heat, maybe. But it ends up being that, he has to kind of sell for the guy a little bit because it just makes Eddie look like he's distracted by the presence of this guy that he shouldn't even be given a thought. Why was it I don't remember, like, to your point about the angle, I don't even remember, why is it Eddie that has to do this?
That's actually a great point. I don't remember that. I don't think that's ever established as like, oh, it's Eddie.
Yeah. And even if it was established, we've forgotten it, clearly. So shout outs to RBV in the house. Thank you for hanging out. I don't know. Well, anyway, we'll more on that later. Mance Warner and Steph DeLander get a vignette. Did you like the vignette?
I mean, I thought it was decent of establishing their characters. I thought this would have been nice before they, kind of came into TNA, or before before the act, I should say, came to TNA.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, like this kind of like violent, redneck couple that likes causing pain. I think that's something that could work, and I wish they would have kind of introduced that coming in, because I had no idea those two were engaged until I watched this, and I'm like, they're getting like really close and touchy. It's like, oh yeah, look it up. Oh, they're engaged. That's why.
Oh, I see. Um. So next is Coach versus Sammy Callahan and Mike Santana. Of course, by Coach I mean First Class, but we have O'Shea Jackson on commentary. I can't really give you a comment on O'Shea Jackson's commentary because I probably wasn't listening to it. Because I was probably had something else going on while this was going on. But what I noticed about this match was, especially the finish, it wasn't even really that dirty. It was just quality teamwork, and Casey Navarro goes over on Sammy Callahan. Which, that's something that, if I said that a year ago, you'd think I was crazy.
The question is, where are they going with these guys?
Who?
Either of them.
First Class? You know where
Penthouse.
they're going. First Class. Yeah, we're going to Penthouse, First Class. So that, but it was to me, yeah, I was just noticing the way they won. They didn't really cheat. It just like AJ made a save on a pin, but I mean, anybody can do that. And then that just distracted Sammy enough to, get the finisher hit on him, whatever that finisher was that Casey Navarro does. And it was like, it just looked like the baby faces got outsmarted almost. So, a little interesting way to do that.
Unless they're might have Sammy snap and turn heel. I mean, really, where else can they go with him at this point? Granted, we've been down that road before. It's just fresher than what he's been doing the last several years.
Yep. Well, even if they wanted to give Navarro a win before Under Siege, Sammy Callahan, I mean, They want to give Eddie a win before Under Siege too, and they chose some guy, some painter guy. He should have came in with the overalls, the white overalls with the splotches on
Get me men at work, pal.
it. It looks the same if you know Sammy Callahan looks the same too when he gets done eating for the day. He's got splotches all over his clothes too, but that's not paint. Speaking of which, there's an NXT catch up after this match. So, in case you hadn't been following along with all the saga of Joe Hendry and Trick Williams and everything, they made sure to let you see it here. Um, and then we have, oh, this was fun. Then we have the debate. We were going to have a debate with, Ariana Grace and or it was Santino. It was Santino, Ariana. It was going to be Robert Stone. He's going to have Victoria with him. Um, so it's supposed to be a debate between Stone and Marella, but so they each say whatever they're going to say about whatever they want to say. And of course, because it's, if you've got a table out there, you know what's going to happen, right? Or you think you do. But in this particular case, so as Tessa Blanchard is out there and the fight breaks out and Grace and Masha get the upper hand, they try to put Tessa through the table and she bounces off. And then they set up the table in the corner to go for an audible, and Masha goes for like the Death Valley driver through the table in the corner, and she bounces off again.
Yeah, that table said, that doesn't work for me tonight, brother.
It sure doesn't. So yeah, there you go. And at that point, what could you do? You just give up.
I mean, yeah, all right, that table ain't breaking.
And there's actually there's more to say about tables later, so we'll save it for that. But what did you think of before this debacle? What did you at least think of the debate? What did you think? Did you like that? Is that something different for TNA?
I mean, it's something different. It's like it seems like trying to do a thing where Robert Stone wants to come in and basically get rid of everybody he deems unworthy and uplift TNA to like NXT's level, but he's, a cocky asshole douchebag while doing it.
Right. And Santino's like, I'm a man of the people. I'm for the people. Everything is for the people. He wants to. He's like Cody Deaner. Basically.
It's like he knew Cody Deaner was on his way out.
Yeah. Someone's got to take up for the people. So. So Cardona cuts a promo, and he mentions how Burt Macklin is not cleared for Under Siege, so he should forfeit. Seems reasonable. If you have a title match, the person can't compete. I mean, there should be a forfeit. But Santino says that if he could just wait a couple days, then the match can happen on Impact, because somehow he knows that Burt Macklin will be cleared by Thursday. I mean, he's not cleared now, but he knows that by next week, not by 2 days or 1 day or whatever, even though this is all pre-recorded, but weeks ago, but still, this is supposed to take place the day before Under Siege. He won't be cleared for Under Siege, but he knows he'll be cleared after that. Sometime in that window. They know that. So we're going to get our match then. Yeah.
Ridiculous. And there's ways you could have saved where the doctor said, but they said like his recovery time, he should be clear by that date. I'm booking the match. And then if he's not clear, there's ways you could have worked around that.
Yeah, they're not that interested in the details, I guess. And yes, Todd, if you're not up with the with the Impact Attack. Burt Macklin, of course, is Steve Macklin, but if you're named Macklin around two guys like us, then we're going to refer to Parks and Recreation uh, and the character created by Andy, Burt Macklin, FBI. So,
Looking for Janet Snakehole.
speaking of, the next match is Spitfire versus someone named Viperous and someone named Maserati.
Who?
I don't know. They sound cooler than Spitfire. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Vipers and Maserati. Yeah, that sounds like a cooler tag team than Spitfire.
yeah, they sound like they're kind of cool, but they're not that cool. But it is a bit competitive of a match here. So if this was supposed to be just another strong win, um, it took Spitfire longer than usual. We've seen Spitfire get pushed quite a bit, way more than maybe they should.
If you like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think you'll like Parks and Rec. It's pretty much just like Michael Schur, basically the same guy behind both Parks and Rec and Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
So now earlier in the day, the Spitfire was discussing getting their titles back, and it's going to become a thing where they don't like if they don't win, then they got to break up. So they're doing that again, even though they did that before when what's his name from Rancid was their manager for some crazy
Oh yeah,
reason.
Lars Fredrickson.
Yeah, that was they did that before. Every time they threatened to break up, it's like you guys obviously just want to break up, just break up. But anyways, they win this match finally, and then Elegance runs out with no warning to do a surprise attack, and they just get punched out like Spitfire's on a roll. The champions get dropped like a sack of shit, and and they struggled for like 5 to 7 minutes with these people that we haven't heard of, Vipers and Maserati. So that's very interesting. Foreshadowing, even, I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. Spitfire could be the end. One can only hope. The gimmick injury report. Ace Austin's leg is day to day.
Which means whichever is convenient for the storyline.
Yeah, because it just got his leg just got hurt at the top of the show, so they already know that it's a day-to-day injury. Okay, so Matt Hardy and Leon Slater sit down and they game plan or just kind of sit there and blow each other. I don't know. This was it was weird. It was just two guys saying stuff. I don't know. I didn't get it.
It's no, to me it came across like they were trying to get on the same page and trying to at least get on some sort of the same wavelength or try to sync up with each other before the pay-per-view title match.
Yeah. I don't know. It was still weird though, the way they did it. I mean, we already know that it's not like Leo Slater was already. Another thing I was thinking about and it didn't really even occur to me until I was watching the match, the title match at Under Siege. But like, if the Hardys had a contractually obligated title rematch, then why was I guess what I'm trying to say is why enforce it when you know Jeff Hardy can't do it?
Well, I think it was again. I know this isn't right. I'm not defending it, but the way it was
Right, right, right.
explained was the Nemeth brothers decided to uh, they somehow had the power to decide when that took place. And it's like, oh, we're gonna do it on this on the show where Jeff can't cross the border, and
Right,
then it's kind of left it there.
right. And of course, uh, normally when somebody gets a contractually obligated rematch, the champion team doesn't really have a say in that necessarily, but
Right?
now they do.
Yeah, I know. Flimsy logic. I know. I'm not. I'm not arguing that at all.
And also, they said it was, I mean, they said it was going to be a ladder match. It didn't end up being one, but I assume that was just uh, a heel tactic of saying like, well, since it's the Hardys, they're saying it's going to be a ladder match. But like, why even mention it if you're not going to do it? You know?
That's a great point. And yeah, was that a champ? I want to say it was the champ's call, and it was just never really contested by either Santino or Robert Stone.
Yeah, basically what happened was, like you said, the Zigglers came out. They said, you know, okay, you can have your rematch at Under Siege. It'll be a ladder match. Oh, but wait, Jeff can't go to Canada. Oh, ha ha ha. So nothing about that is official. But then Santino came out and he said that um, Jeff can't go to Canada, but uh, we can have the match anyway, and that's why Jeff had to take on
Nick
Dolph
Nemeth.
last week in a singles, and he beat him. Jeff beat Dolph, and then we could have the match with Matt and a partner of his choosing. That's what Santino said. So the babyface GM put the Hardys in a situation where they just had to have it. He could have said, "We'll just wait until I'm just saying, playing along with the kayfabe. He could have had the match at any time. He could have set the match at any time because the champions don't set the match.
Yeah, yeah, do his job and be the authority. No, you don't set the match. I do, and it's going to happen in America on this date, so that way you face the Hardys.
Yep. Yeah, and if Jeff is not in the match, is it really a contractually obligated rematch?
And plus, Todd threw this out here too. If you wanted to, do it, have an authority figure say no, it's going to take place in Canada where Jeff can't come. Stone right there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, you see the headache that it is to try to make sense of all this stuff just for a simple thing that no one's going to care about or remember by next week. Um. So anyway, Trick Williams is out here for commentary on our main event match, which is Joe Hendry and Elijah versus Moose and Brian Myers of the System. So the good news is we get a Moose side. The bad news is, I guess, everything else. I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. Um, I do like that they beat Myers. Anytime they beat Myers, it's great. He's looking extra fat too. Like you can just see the fat coming around and like taking away all the chest definition that he has, so that he just looks like this marshmallow with a
Maybe
tan.
maybe 80's giving him delicious food.
Could be, which is weird. That's very strange. I thought they were ride or die, but apparently it's die, starve. Um, yeah. I'm just saying he's fat. That's all. And then, yeah, and then after the match, Kazarian jumps Hendry, but he ends up getting the guitar necklace for his trouble. Um, and then Trick kind of just glares at Joe Hendry, and that's how they go off the air. Off the air with the glare.
Off the air with the glare, pal.
Yep, and we are now ready for Under Siege.
Give me
Very
Eric
exciting.
Allen-Naik, pal.
Yes, yes. All right, so we have a countdown to Under Siege. They show the usual stuff now. The people arriving at the building, like Frankie Kazarian, Trick Williams, Joe Hendry. Robert Stone comes out to the ring. He's calling himself Sheriff Stone. He said he's going to be there to edit everything that Santino does tonight. If he gets out of line, he'll be there to correct it. Santino comes out and says he's for the people. And Stone says he's already got a hospital bed with his daughter's name on it for after her match with Tessa tonight. And Santino says if anything happens to his daughter, then he's not going to be the director of authority. He's going to be a father tonight. And then they play his music, and then Stone says, no, don't play his music, play my music. So they play Stone's music. So, yeah. And then we get a match of Rosemary versus Xia Brookside. It is just a normal match until Rosemary goes outside and gets a staple gun, brings it into the ring right in full view of the referee and attempts to use it. The referee says, what in the fuck are you doing using a staple gun in front of me, and takes it away from her. No problem. Ref versus demon, no problem. Just give me that staple gun, demon. The crowd boos this, by the way. They wanted to see a staple gun. So you could see how invested they are in the actual angle and the people involved. They just,
We want staples.
Yep. But Rosemary has a backup plan. A belt. Not a championship belt. Just,
Her belt.
Yep. It's her belt. So she and Xia fight over it. Xia gets a hold of it. And then she's like conflicted. But then she uses it. She whips Rosemary with a belt like she's a kid that just, I don't know, tracked mud in the house or whatever kids get whipped for. So she's whipping her, and the referee is like, you can't do that, disqualification. And then she snaps and starts just beating Rosemary with fists, and security comes in and she starts whipping security everywhere.
So did Rosemary actually win or lose that? Because isn't that what she kind of wanted out of the result she was looking for to get Xia to snap?
Well, I mean, technically she won either way because the disqualification win goes to her
too. I totally forgot about that.
She's a total winner. She won everything. So there you go. I mean, yeah. So Xia, is she Dark Xia now?
Dark Xia.
I guess we'll have to see. All right, Tessa. It's one more promo before we get the show started. It is Stone, Victoria, Tessa, all back there. Tessa says that this isn't a pageant; it's a proving ground. And Victoria's like, "Hey, once I win the title, I'll give you the first shot." So, there you go. And now we have Under Siege proper. And the opening match is going to be Mike Santana versus, well, it's going to be Casey Navarro because AJ apparently has turf toe, which that's a hilarious football reference. But he says, don't worry, because, KC Navarro is going to be here. And KC looks very surprised that he's going to be in the match, even though he has his full gear on and his boots and everything. But he still looks shocked. So I guess AJ did not smarten him up. He just got dressed on his own and just thought, it's better to be in my full gear to be at ringside. So, the match starts, and pretty early on, there's a "you fucked up" chant. Not because anybody fucked anything up. It's not like a JT Smith thing, but it's more like, KC fucked up because he tried to do something in this match and piss Santana off. And, AJ's on the mic outside and he's like, there are children here, which is his go-to line when the fans start chanting, stuff that's inappropriate. But that's not the only chant, because KC survives long enough in this match. If the match goes long enough, if any match goes long enough, they might get this chant, which is "This is awesome." So he did get a "This is awesome" chant. He also got his block spun, because we know that there's only one way this was going to end anyways. Even though he did get a strong win over Sami Callihan. But yes. But after he wins, wouldn't you know, Brandon, it's a miracle. AJ is not hurt after all, and he gives Santana a crutch beating. He just beats him with a crutch. So now we've seen a belt beating and a crutch beating. And I felt the most bad for KC Navarro, because the look on his face that he was duped by his friend AJ was just heartbreaking. I can't believe he would do that to me.
You didn't even let me in on this, man.
Yeah.
And it's could have been a plan. We could have 2-on-1 this shit.
Yeah. I mean, if we were going to lose anyway. Yeah. Good old heel logic. But, hey, it was something, I guess.
Unless you're trying to turn Navarro babyface.
I think they probably are. Why else would you do this? But who's going to want to see that? I feel like a lot of times these days, when you turn somebody babyface, it's just like, I don't know. Doesn't really work. I'm trying to think of a major heel to babyface turn that's worked. They never stick with it. Like, even you take a guy like Trick Williams, when he turned babyface, I mean, I guess that worked for a little while, and he just eventually came back to being heel because they didn't know what else to do. But is he really a heel now? See, like, I just don't. It's difficult because even heels will, like, they'll act like baby faces. Like, people that are clearly supposed to be, like Kalani Jordan on NXT Battleground, just comes out like slapping hands with the fans on her way to the ring. It's like, everybody hates you. So, like, who are we? I don't know.
What are we doing here, pal?
Anyway, do you have any other thoughts on this opening contest?
I mean, I thought it was all right. I mean, as we know, for Mike Santana, it looks like they're setting up big things for him. I think we'll get to it. Actually, I'll talk more about him when we get to Battleground.
Okay. So this Gabby, whatever her name is with the podcast, has she's standing in the front row with some Brampton City officials and a honey badger mascot. We need to know who they are because of reasons that we'll get to. We see a
And
package, and then we see Eric Young wishing Cody Deaner luck, and then it is Deaner versus Fat Eddie with the career on the line. If he can't win this match, he can't have a job anymore. Because that's how wrestling works. You gotta win. You gotta beat Eddie Edwards to have a job in TNA. If you can't do that, we're not gonna renew your contract.
of course Cody went under because what else are they gonna do with him? Oh, yeah, Gabby Laspiza, she's
She's what?
hot. Hot tag, blowing up that steam off that hot tag.
Maybe hot honey off that honey badger. How about that? Yeah, so yes, there are shenanigans from Lish. Eddie hits him with the ring punch, put his system ring on and punch him in the face. Deaner kicked out of it. But he didn't kick out of the ball shot when he gets shoved into the ropes where Lish is, and she punches him in the dick, and then Eddie hits the Boston Knee Party, and that's enough. And then the whole system gets in the ring to cut a promo on him and laugh at him. They pass this time they do pass the mic around. There is a mic. They do pass it around. And so they all cut a promo on him. And then here comes the Armory and Eric Young with a Pro Canada promo. And then this turns into the Armory with the Honey Badger mascot on the outside versus Moose, JDC, and Myers with Lish on the outside. And now we got a 6-man, pal.
Holla holla, playa.
Yep.
This made no sense unless they're going to do a thing with the Northern Armory where it's kind of like the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, it was like this is a house show move. One night, we're in Canada. You have to like us because we're Canadian, because that's as far as our creative goes. And that's, it's basically where your title comes from, Moose versus Canada. So that's all I'm looking at. But so they try to use Kendra, and the city officials get involved. Apparently, they hop the rail and take Kendra away. And then, of all people, Moose is the one who gets pile driven and pinned here.
Yeah, what the fuck, pal? When you got Myers right there,
And JDC?
oh, I'd have Myers pinned before JDC.
I would too. But obviously they don't do what I would do. So does this mean that Eric Young is the number one contender for the X Division Championship now?
Yeah, that's kind of the formula they've been going with. That you pin Moose in a tag match, you're the number one contender. Then you get pinned by Moose.
Yeah. I mean, a Moose is Canadian too. Like, why do you beat him in Canada? I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing about this that's any good or makes sense. Not the marks getting involved, not the mascot character, nothing. Very, very disappointed.
Although when those city officials got announced, they got the shit boot out of them.
Yeah, to the point they had to acknowledge it. The one guy was like, "Yeah, go ahead and boo." Like, okay, we will boo. Like, yeah. I just, I appreciate you, Todd. I definitely appreciate you, but every question is kind of rhetorical unless otherwise noted. You don't necessarily have to answer every single one. But you can if you want. I mean, that's why we're all here. Um, we got some new signings in the Knockouts division, Brandon. Myla Grace and Harley Hudson.
Who?
Myla Grace and Harley Hudson. Apparently, you didn't hear me. No, yeah, no idea. They probably have been on to do some jobs before, maybe. But are they a team?
I guess they are now. Maybe.
Game changers? Robert says game changers. So, well, maybe we're gonna need a new tag team because the next match is Spitfire versus the Elegance twins or whatever they're called. This is a match by Elegance, so you know what that means. Anything goes. They're dressed like Mounties, Royal Mounted Police, Dudley Do Right,
and the Mountie.
Yeah, the Mountie, Jacques Rougeau. But there was a kendo stick in this match that was not Kenny or Kendra. So unfortunately for me, this match was disavowed, and I cannot further report on anything that happens in the match. So Brandon, you'll have to tell the people what happened.
Maggie Lee got involved. Team Elegance goes over, and Spitfire breaks up.
That's true. That's what happened. There actually is something I do have to comment on. I will comment on it outside of the context, so it doesn't necessarily count as me avowing this, but I had to avow at least this one portion of the match. Mount these titties. That's right.
Botox.
So they did a spot where with the part where Maggie Lee came in, it interfered right when she came in. Ash was up there with like Danny. They were standing on like the turnbuckle with Danny facing to the outside where they had a table set up. And she was supposed to take a bump into the table. And she completely missed the table. To the point it looked like, well, she didn't completely miss it. She tried to reach back, so part of her arm hit it, and it looked like possibly she hit the edge of the table like with her head and neck, maybe. So she just falls straight to the floor basically and hits the table with her arm and head on the way down. She didn't go through it. I don't know what she was thinking, like either way, like I don't know why she didn't jump back to the table. I don't know why they didn't guide her through, but she just fell to the floor and she could have been seriously hurt. And I guess she wasn't, but they picked her up, like Ash picked her up off the floor, put her on the table, and then like splashed her through the table at an awkward angle. Like she was face down, first of all, which that's not good. Why would you take a table face down? And her leg was hanging off the side. So that couldn't have gone. I mean, everything about this was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Who was the agent?
Huh?
Actually, you can't really blame the agent in this. Like, there's no way he could have, any agent could have foreseen this going wrong like that.
No, all he did would have been to say, "All right, do the table spot," and then the fact of how bad they messed it up, But I don't care about, I don't care about the spot, how the spot looked. And I joke about Spitfire and everything like that, but they're human beings. So like what I care about is Danny Luna's health is what I care about. And this had nothing to do with the finish. The finish was separate from this. All Danny Luna had to do was be taken out to explain why she couldn't save her partner. So if she fell and missed the table and hurt herself, that's all that had to be. All she needs to do is sell at that point. She doesn't need to go through the table. You just leave her there and let somebody check on her where the camera's not going to see it.
Right.
Make sure.
Right. Wouldn't a bump like that look devastating enough, even if you miss it and botch it? Sell it.
Yeah. So I just don't. I don't know, man. And even if, but like maybe Danny was just like, I'm fine, put me through the table or whatever. I don't. It doesn't matter. You're still wrong. Don't do it. You know. It's if it's not important, it didn't matter to the way the match ended. So. Anyway.
So yeah, Spitfire ends up disbanding, still tag team champions. Team Elegance, whoop whoop.
That's right. Yeah, maybe they can have an addendum about women no longer using tables. Yeah, it's probably for the best. I mean, there needs to be a table cut down industry wide. Not only because there's too many tables, not only because they're overshadowing the popularity of the wrestlers, but also for deforestation. I mean, we can't just keep making these tables. We need trees in the world, not tables. So, all right. So Zaya cuts a promo and she says, basically to Rosemary, you wanted this. Now whatever happens next is on you. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait for this week's Impact to see what that means.
Get me Dark Zaya, pal. Or
yeah,
Dark Zaya.
Dark Zaya. Order 4 versus Rascals, Indy, and well, Ace Austin can't be here. His leg, it's day to day. His leg is day to day, and today is another day, and so it's not this day. So they need a new partner.
Well, I will say at least it was somebody from a storyline perspective, and his connection to Ali at least makes sense. And that's about where the positives end.
That's right. It's Campaign Singh, everyone's favorite wrestler. And he's also from Canada. B-Town, as he calls it. I guess that's what everybody calls that town. And that's how you know he's legit. They didn't care, by the way. I just want you to know that your hometown did not react, to anything you were doing. They didn't know who you were either. And you forgot to say who you were, even though it wouldn't have made sense if you did. So everybody was just like, who's this fat bald guy getting in the ring fighting Order 4? But it's Campaign Singh. Or now it's just Raj Singh again. Scott Whitford, be his bitch town? No. It's Brampton, baby. Brampton, Ontario. B-Town. Yeah.
Brampton represent, pal. Yeet.
Yeah. Not like the B, not like bitch. Not like the bitch that Dark Zaya called Rosemary. So, all right, look, we're not going to care about this match either. What we're going to do is we're going to laugh at the spot where everybody was trying to suplex each other, and then Tasha and Indy climbed on their backs and started punching each other, if you can call it that.
You ever watch Beyond Wrestling or see anything out of there?
Mm-mm.
That's something from a Beyond Wrestling taping, where it's just a pop. Well, the thing with Beyond Wrestling, at least when I was watching it, the whole thing was you're wrestling in front of the boys, and the boys are putting over the ridiculous, stupid, crazy shit you do in the ring. That's straight out of that.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have no doubt we'll see that spot on the next Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Head.
Yeah. We definitely have to. I mean, I already saw that spot before I got to watch Under Siege, so it's definitely going around. I'm just like, to other people that see TNA, they're probably like, what the fuck is this? To us who cover it, we're just like, yeah.
This TNA.
I mean, yeah, this is the least of your concerns. It does suck though. It was stupid. And again, like with me saying I'm okay, Indy Hartwell, I'm watching your career. This is 2 strikes already. First, you tripped over your own feet in your debut. Now this. So tighten it up. So Ali hits a 450 on Singh. That's the real purpose of him being a guy to take a loss. And he keeps beating him up afterwards because Ali snaps too. Zay's not the only one who could snap. Ali has also snapped. He's gone from heel to heel. And he's choking Singh with the apron, and Tasha's like, hey, maybe don't kill him. And he like jerks his elbow backwards and knocks her down, and she looks very hurt. More than the feelings, kind of like Casey Navarro earlier. Feelings were very hurt. She couldn't believe that her upstanding boss, that she's seen do all these things, to Santana and other people. She can't believe that he would actually be so cruel as to knock her on her buttocks. Remorseless. The great hands are helping her up like apologetically and everything.
I know something too with the great hands is one was kind of like, well, he did what he had to do, and the other one's kind of like, it's okay. Like they kind of trying to do like a good cop, bad cop routine.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't go through a table though. Well, neither did Danny Luna at first. Yeah. So there's that. All right. Then we get a daddy-daughter pep talk between the Morellas. Ariana Morella. Then we get the gimmick injury report right here on a pay-per-view. That's nice. You like that? Do you like having injury reports on a pay-per-view?
I mean, to be fair, they're only like a minute long. Plus, it kind of if fans are tuning in who don't understand why a certain wrestler is not on the card, gives them an update why, whether it's storyline or shoot.
Interesting. I was just thinking from the perspective of like we have a weekly show, so every week you want to update people on the injuries in the company, and we just had technically a gimmick injury report the previous night. So, well, this is what we learned from this injury report. If you got hit with a guitar recently, you're cleared. Trick is good to go. Kaz is good to go. Ace is out. Bert is still out. Bert cuts a promo saying, I may be out, but I'm going to be back.
Cardona, I'm coming for you.
All right, it's Ariana Grace versus Tessa Blanchard. Santino's out there with his daughter, but Robert Stone ejects him from ringside because no manager's license.
But somehow Robert Stone has a manager's license, I'm guessing.
I'm
Or
sure
if
he
I'm
does. Well, he should. Technically, he should. Robert Stone should have a manager's license, unless he didn't renew it. He used to manage people. Hey, he managed that one guy. You know that guy that's not in NXT anymore with the
yeah,
cranium.
yeah. That one guy who had that one match that a few years ago. That one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah. Yeah, Rick likes the injury report. I do too, but it's weird to have it on the pay-per-view because it's definitely a TV type thing. Anyway, Tessa wins this match as expected. Ariana does put up a valiant fight. That's the story they want to tell. But when when after the match is over and Santino comes back out to check on her, Robert Stone has him re-ejected. So even more heat. And has security actually usher him out. And then we were going to go straight into Victoria Crawford versus Masha Slamovich. But before we get to that, what'd you think of the Tessa and Ariana match?
I thought it was decent. To be fair, this is the first time I've seen Ariana Grace wrestle. I think she's pretty decent. I think she's got a future. Plus, like she's got a decent size to her too. Like she looks believable in there with anybody. Like she could bump for some of the smaller wrestlers, but she can also believably lift and slam the bigger ones too. Like she's right in that sweet spot.
Yeah. I think one of the things that she really just has to work on is her timing. I think that's the biggest thing because as Ray and I have noticed watching her career, the part that everybody really needs in wrestling, which as the wrestlers call it, the in-between stuff, they call it that. Not just the moves you're doing, but what are you doing, after the move? What are your transitions? Are you showing personality? Are you, whatever. So that part, she already has that part, which that's usually one of the last things you get as a wrestler. So she's got that part now. She just has to work on her mechanics of everything and making it look crisp and getting her timing right.
And that just comes with just entering time and working and getting reps in.
Yeah. It's still like, to me, just watching her, it's just like, that's the, because I remember when she was just a little baby. You know what I mean? Like, that's the first time I saw her, and just seeing her as like a grown adult is just like, God, where did time go? Can you come back, please? So yeah. All right, now. Yes. Crawford versus Slamovich. So the crowd was not kind to this match. And in fairness, they may have been right at first. It picked up toward the end. The story is basically that Masha has to overcome the shenanigans. There's a ref bump in here. There's a belt shot that she takes. But ends up surviving and hitting Requiem for the win. But this was the weird part. The weird part is she gets on the microphone and says that Lei Ying Lee deserves a title shot.
Like, yeah, where did that come from?
Yeah, what? No offense. The last time we saw Lei Ying Lee, she was laying on a warehouse cart. So what about that deserves a title shot? But regardless, it's just weird that she would come out and like you. Just no. You don't know.
Yeah, now a Lei Ying Lee and Masha Slamovich program that's built to with proper story and development leading to that match, okay, but just randomly out of nowhere? After last time we saw her, she was laid out by Rosemary?
Yeah. Yeah, were they still chanting she's a racist at Tessa? I forgot.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I was listening. I was listening to something that was not this commentary and this crowd at this point. At this point of me watching Under Siege, I think I had supplemental material to listen to, so I didn't catch it. But yeah, the issue is not Lei Ying Li. The issue is, why do it here like this? It just doesn't, just doesn't make sense. Of course, Robert Stone objects and says that Lee has to earn it. You got to earn a title shot, just like Victoria Crawford did. So Thursday, we'll see how she gets to earn it. But apparently she has to earn it. I assume it's a match. And then,
What if like Stone does bring out Jada Parker, something like that?
Well, why do you want? Yeah, so if you're going to do that, why would you want to call attention? It's like having the champion call out a challenger, a babyface champion at that, call out a challenger, say, I want to give you a title shot. And then for that person to then, because if it's somebody like Jada Parker, Lei Ying Li ain't winning that. So would you want to do that? Would you want to bury Lei Ying Li again?
It kind of depends on where they're going. Like if they're doing a thing where Stone just keeps kind of screwing her for whatever reason, then you can kind of go somewhere with that. But that depends on like where it goes.
Well, it probably will be an NXT person. It just might be somebody that they can afford to have go under. If that makes sense. Or not. So we get a... Oh, did you have an idea?
Yeah, what if, because of her ongoing tension with her friend / partner, what if it's Zarya after something goes wrong with Sol Ruka, she fucks something up and there's a mistake and ends with Lei Ying Li getting the win?
Maybe. There was a little bit of that. But of course, we'll talk more about that on the Next Level Wrestling review with Big Ray Hernandez on Wednesday morning. We have a Sabu tribute package now. Apparently, they only have footage from TNA Sabu, which I'm sure they could have gotten any Sabu footage they wanted if they had just asked. But that's a lot of footage to comb through, though. It must have been a lot easier to make it out of only TNA footage.
Yeah, fair. That would have been a lot of stuff to go through in the WWE archives for Sabu.
Yeah. Okay. So, the great Sabu gets his nice tribute there for TNA. Thank you guys for that. Now we're at the Hardy and Slater versus the Zigglers match. Okay. These guys have a standard tag team match. It was actually so standard, it was fucking boring to start with. It picked up at the end, though. I will give them that. Like, once they got down into the final stretch there, they had a couple nice near falls or whatever, and the crowd was really up, and it got a little bit more exciting. I mean, the Zigglers do retain, but... for a second there, after that Swan 450, we might have thought there might have been new champs, but no. So what'd you think?
Pretty much same as that. It was boring down the stretch, boring for most of it. Once it got down towards the home stretch, it picked up and got better. I liked that. I thought the finish was good. And of course, you don't really hurt the Hardys because, well, it wasn't really the Hardys getting beat.
Mm-hmm. It was actually Matt that got beat. So it was nice of Matt to, not have Slater take another L, because Leon Slater is clearly earmarked for something, And, you know, the pages that are earmarked are filled with L's. Like the story of Leon Slater is just capital L's on every page so far. Like he hasn't really won anything. So when Matt Hardy is courteous enough to take a pin for somebody, it's I appreciate that. So
And it seems like the Hardys really do like Leon as a young kid, and they see him as like a protege almost.
yeah, they probably do. And why wouldn't you? I mean, anybody with a brain should, but we all know what happens to the people that, like, for example, you, Brandon, and I, and some of the people here watching with us and chatting with us, all think are great. And we see how they get booked. Like, for example, when you're the X Division champion who gets beaten a random 6-man, you know. So
And I think
why would somebody like Leon Slater get anything really? Anyway, uh daddy and daughter are back, and Santino wants a match with Robert Stone because he can't take it anymore. And his daughter's like, it should be me and you versus Stone and Tessa because I want to fight her again. So were they hinting that this match could take place this Thursday? We might have an interesting Thursday.
I don't know. It could be. I don't remember.
Okay.
But it seemed like it'd be I don't think there's any pay-per-views that are coming up soon, so I guess it'd be on an Impact or an NXT. Like I think there's a live Impact coming up. Or is that next month? I don't remember.
There's supposed to be one coming up. I don't remember when. But they said they were going to do more here and there. So, you know. But now we're at the main event. And it's a tag team match. And we just saw a tag team match. So is there any reason we couldn't have maybe flipped the Ziggler's match with the Knockouts title match? Because there's really no reason for the Ziggler's match to be this close to the end.
I thought the exact same thing. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Our last 4 matches: women's, tag.
I don't like it, but regardless, it is what it is. It's a good. This is a good match. I think this is it's a more entertaining match, I think, than the previous one, like as a tag team match. But that's a lot to do with, the people involved and like them trying to tell the story of like, okay, well, I don't want, I'm Kazarian. I'm telling you, Trick, what to do because this is my house. I'm the king of TNA. Blah blah blah. So they're these two heels, but they're not really like Trick's not really a heel, but he kind of is, but he isn't, but he is. And Kazarian's being a heel because he definitely is. And it's them trying to Trick and Joe trying to avoid touching as long as possible. Elijah's just there to, he's there to back up his friend, his guitar buddy. So I mean that's what we get out of the match. But the match ends with Joe Hendry hitting the standing ovation on Mr. Bet on himself, and he holds the belt at Trick, and that's how we go off the air with the deadly belt hold.
Yep, the shot calling beauty shot before the title match.
That's right. And of course, as we all know, now that was Friday, and on Sunday, the unthinkable happened with TNA president Carlos Silva, who assures us that it's only that talent are discouraged from using blood, sitting right there in attendance. They take the belt off Joe Hendry right in his face. Trick Williams is your TNA champion.
And he becomes the first WWE contracted wrestler to be the TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
What do you think about that decision? Because I really want to hear what your thoughts are overall as far as the business of it.
If they go where I think they're going with it, then I don't mind it. I think it's actually a smart move. It gets people talking. It lets people know this is actually a legit partnership. We're having belts flipping brands. If you're going to do it, make a statement with one of the major belts. And where I think they're going with it is I think it is eventually going to be Mike Santana who takes the belt off of Trick Williams and brings it back to TNA. And I think they're already kind of planting the seeds for that, so that way the NXT fans get to know him and know who he is. Such as when he made his first NXT appearance at Battleground, and now all of a sudden he has a match with Tavion Heights on tomorrow night show.
I see. Well, that's definitely one way to look at it. What does it do for Joe Hendry? What do you think?
That's the tricky part. Where do you go for Joe Hendry so he doesn't get lost in the shuffle, he doesn't fall down the card, you still keep him at that same level and try to take him higher?
I think higher is him leaving the company.
Which I think I do think that's going to happen. I always kind of felt like TNA is trying to get what they can out of him because they know as soon as his contract's up, he's going to WWE. Question is, when does that expire? I know it's sometime this year.
I think the one thing that I think about, rightly or wrongly, it's just again, this is the WWE doing this. Like, oh yeah, we'll just have one of our guys win your championship. Like, I don't even think it could very well be exactly as you said. Like, this could be a TNA plan. It could be a TNA idea. It could be TNA creative. Could be they said, this would be a good way to get Mike Santana like fully, like we can make him by doing this. Or it could just be WWE saying, yeah, we're just going to do this. Like, I'm not like, that's what it always feels like.
Right now, if Vince were in charge, yes, I would think that's how it would go, but I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. This is a different regime. Now, while, yeah, there is definitely some of that old mentality in place, I'm still going to be very cautiously optimistic.
Well, in any case, what's done is done. And like we said, Trick is the new TNA champion. So,
and here's kind of one of the things that kind of makes me think that they're going to treat it right is when they announced the partnership, they said it was a 3-year deal. And we're about, 6 months in?
They said it was a 3-year deal. I don't remember that.
Let me look that up real quick.
Because putting an end date on the relationship would be kind of weird. Like, we're done with you in 3 years? No matter how it goes?
I'm pulling up the WWE from their website. Yeah, say it's a multi-year one, but I think they said it specifically it was like 3 years. Okay, yeah. So the WWE said it's a multi-year partnership. They don't specify how many years. I think I might have heard the 3 years from a dirt sheet. Right,
I see.
and exactly. They could also renew it. Hey, this is working out great for everybody. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, to me it's weird. It was always weird that they even announced anything. Like what are you announcing? The only thing that this serves that this purpose serves is basically just, you know, yep, wrestling's phony, we're all working together, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's basically just another way of saying that. It's another way of having one of these press conferences where they expose the business. I mean, it's obvious you're working together because we can see you working together. The press release doesn't tell us anything. And to put a time limit on it's even weirder. So, I don't know. But, yep, that's what we got. So we'll see what happens now. Um, it definitely gives you that sense of, well, I gotta watch, you know, I gotta watch NXT and see Trick come out with a TNA belt, or whatever. Because there really is not much else, you know, from Battleground or Under Siege that is going to be interesting to talk about on that show. You're going to kind of have to lead off with Trick, and so that'll be the thing that everybody wants to see. I wonder if that will affect the ratings in any way.
That's a good question. Tom brings up a good point too. That now Trick, well, he's been doing it for a few months or a couple months now, but yeah, now Trick is gonna be working, basically working 2 shows, doing double duty, and it gives him more people to work with and get experience with. Especially like if he starts having, like if they put him in title defenses against, say, one of the Hardys, Moose, that could help him immensely.
It certainly wouldn't hurt. Well, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see.
In fact, that could actually be a way you could turn Moose babyface. Because that kind of seems like where they're going with him, like they're with some tension in the system. He cashes in option C on Trick Williams. Eddie Edwards does something that fucks him up, and that's how he loses. Or like an interference backfire or something like that.
Well, lots of options. Lots of options. But I think we are just about out of options. I think we have to end the Impact Attack pretty soon. So, I guess we should just tell them where they could find us.
Sounds good, pal. As always, you can catch me on Twitch, or as the kids call it these days, the X at LG Brandon Whoop Whoop. I'm also on Twitch at twitch.tv, so that's LG Brandon Whoop Whoop. Guaranteed every Wednesday after the HMG AEW Dynamite watch along and belt count. And sporadically throughout the week. And then, of course, let's see what we got for our schedule this week. Tomorrow night, we got a late start NXT watch along after Ace show goes off the air. And then, of course, Wednesday, we got the HMG AEW Dynamite watch along and bell count. Thursday, Impact watch along. Friday, SmackDown watch along. And this weekend is going to be HMG After Dark both nights. Whoop, whoop.
Packed. Just like this weekend. Packed. Lots of great content coming your way. As for me, at Opinion Haver everywhere. We can talk about. Let's talk about it. Trick Williams, TNA champion on NXT this Tuesday. But we're going to talk about it Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Big Ray Hernandez and I on the Next Level Wrestling Review. Then on Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, you'll hear all about Double or Nothing and AEW when Jimmy T and I bring you the wreckage and cover all that greatness. I can't believe they went with the Cowboy. I gave them a 5% chance that they would do that, and that was the 5%.
You should have put some money on that. I know I do. I thought Ospreay was going over in that one.
It was basically a guarantee. How on earth why would you? Anyway, I'll complain more about that next Sunday. But yes. Besides that, you can check out Wrestling with Rip Rogers every Friday. You can check out the Stevie Richards Show every Friday. You can check out the Limpin' Ain't Easy with Timmy Baltimore every Wednesday. Got Chelsea Green coming up. That's the next episode, Limpin' Ain't Easy. Chelsea Green. That's right. You're not going to want to miss it. Pretty exciting.
That's going to do some numbers, pal.
Yep. So, yeah, that's it. So hopefully you guys will all tune in to all of that stuff, and we will definitely see you around. So for Brandon, I'm the vet, and I don't have a sign-off line.